Oh yeah, resumes. So go to the top real quick.
Well, let's go with the overview.
Okay, so we're going to start off going over a bit some sample resumes, and you guys get to, while we're talking, maybe think about some of your own attributes and accomplishments and such. You could write down and maybe have like a sentence you could put in your own resume.
Or more than one sentence.
Oh yeah, like.
Yeah. So this is the resume that I used going out of college, applying for like a full-time job. So this is not what yours is going to look like because you're in high school. But it has the same general like format that your resume should have. So up at the top, I have I have my name, big bold letters. I have all my contact info, so if they want to reach me, they can easily find all that information. That is not current, don't write it down. Then right after that, I have my education. Also, because I'm an engineer and like mechanical engineers, there's not really much way to convey what I can do without like, pictures or something. I have my own website where I have a portfolio of things I've made. So I have like First Robotics, like I put the robots that I helped work on. Those are on there. Any personal projects, like if I've made some crafts, like if I made a bookshelf or something, I put that on there. Most of my work is confidential, but like I have to like can I have this, and then I take a little picture of it and put it on my portfolio and say like I've designed this thing, and here's like a quick blurb about what it does, just so people can see like, oh, I actually know what I'm doing. So for like programmers, you can post your GitHub on there. For you guys, put the robot on there. Say like, here's what I worked on in this robot. For anyone not a programmer or mechanical, if you have some kind of project that you've done, put it on a website or something that's easy to, or like make a little slideshow that's easy to hand off so they can see stuff that you've done. And it's great for talking points later. But yeah, so back to the resume. Top of my list is my education. I said I graduated college. That's important to know. Then I put some courses that were important. Not every class I've ever taken. You have to kind of narrow down by what's actually important to who you're trying to get a job from. So you guys, if you're looking to get a job in an engineering internship, try to focus your classes, like at least put the in the front. Like if you took a physics class, if you took engineering with Josh or something, put those classes up front so that they can easily see that you have experience in something related to what you're trying to do. Then I have affiliations, like if you're in a club or something, you can put First Robotics there. Activities, I have First Robotics there. I have a quick look like what I've done in that. So because that's probably going to be a lot of what you guys have done, you're going to want First Robotics to be a much larger section. And that will go kind of under relevant experience for you. Then I have my skills, things that they can see, oh, he knows how to do this, he knows how to do this. This is someone I want to actually talk to in an interview. Because they're just going to have a pile of resumes, flip through them, make little check marks, and put, we'll talk to these people, we won't talk to these people. So you want to be in this good pile after that. Then you respond to relevant experience. So this is where I posted the jobs I've done. So all these I have where I worked, where it was, and then over on the right you can see dates. That's how I worked there. So I worked like July through December of 2016. They know it's a 6-month job. And then I did a bunch of stuff I did during that job. And notice how at the beginning of each one of these, there's a nice action word. So like I designed this, I created this, I developed this. You want to show that you can do things, and you don't want to like come off as if you're downplaying your own skills and things that you've done. You want whoever is reading your resume to be impressed by you and want to talk to you.
A resume is a place to brag. Yeah. Humbly, but do it.
And truthfully. Right. Don't make stuff up.
Like what Kyle had like C++ and MATLAB in it, like you said before, like you're not the master of C++ or MATLAB, but you're comfortable like figuring out if you were asked to, right?
Yeah. So anything in your resume, like none of this stuff is made up. I have experience in every single one of these things. But toward the end, C++ MATLAB, I'm not really confident in it, but I know that if I needed it for a job, I could go back and relearn it and be ready to go at work. So that's why SOLIDWORKS all the way over the left. I know that. I'm really good at it. I don't need to brush up on it. And then if a lot of jobs, like especially like real jobs, you'll have some kind of travel possibilities. So that's why I have conversational German on there. I said conversational because if you're gonna send me to Germany, I could talk, not very well. So we want to move on to other things.
So my resume was not tailored for getting a job in the real world. My resume was tailored for getting an internship at a company I was already working at. So I did not have to really update it that much because I was actually presently working there. As you can see, it still says present, and I was applying to Takeda Oncology. But I guess the important highlights here are I have the same kind of stuff as Kyle. I have the dates and the relevant experience. Some stuff that's different from Kyle's is that I have some of my achievements, which would be really important for you as students. If you won an award, especially the awards you won in robotics, like everything we've won, chairman's, like any robot awards, that's super important to add because it's exciting for you guys and for anyone looking at this to see that you actually accomplished something. You weren't just there getting a participant's trophy, even though participating is still very important. And then for myself, I just went directly from education to experience instead of listing skills, because from my experience, they can actually see all of my skills and have it listed pretty much in there. And it also forces them to kind of read through my resume and look through it and actually see, okay, she's done these reactions, she's used these pieces of equipment. And also I had a little bit like too much experience, had a couple more jobs. You scroll down on there. So I didn't really want to delete any of my experiences because I thought that was more important than just listing my skills in this case. So some of the other important stuff to note is that if you know how to run like certain tests or you know how to use certain pieces of machinery and you've done them at certain jobs, it is a place to highlight that, because if you are attaching a list of references or something, they can call that job and be like, okay, did she actually run these analytical assays? They can call somebody at Takeda if I list them as a reference, and they can say yes. Another thing that's important is numbers, like how many years you've done something, how much of something you've made, like if you're a programmer, like what types of code and what languages. For example, I wrote that I used an Agilent HPLC, not that you should know what that means, just a piece of analytical equipment, but knowing that it's Agilent versus a different company can be important, because some of the companies that I've worked at are more specific about the type of equipment that they use, and if you know how to use what they already have, is a benefit to them. So it's tiny things like that that can kind of get your foot in the door a little bit more and make them really want to hire you and make you a more attractive candidate.
And it's like important to have those details versus just like fluff to make it seem like there's more words. Like it's really concise and it's really good that there are those details that will stand out to someone who, for example, uses that.
That's kind of like whatever languages you know how to code in, you want to point out, I know these ones, or if you know SolidWorks better than Creo, or if you know both. Like some companies will hire you because you know SolidWorks on the screen. So.
Something important to know also, because we're gonna eventually switch over to Josh's resume, is there's a difference between a resume and a CV. I'm sure you've heard of both of them. So a resume should be one page, especially for high school students. It should not be longer than a page. I do not know how you will fill more than a page, because I definitely couldn't when I was in high school, and I barely could when I was even through my first year of college. So a resume is pretty much exactly what you're seeing here and what you're seeing, what you saw from Kyle. It's your experience, it's where you went to school. That's it. A CV is going to have any publications you've worked on, any conferences you presented at, which I could start doing because, for example, I have that I was a contributor and I presented at a couple conferences for my lab at Northeastern University, but it's just not necessary for me at this point in time to add those things, because that's not what a company is looking for from me. They want to see my skills and they want to know that I'm capable, not necessarily that I'm renowned in the industry because I'm 22 years old. I should not be renowned in the industry. That would be a little insane. So if we switch over to Josh's, we can actually get a good look at what a more advanced resume should look like.
So mine was very different because I had to do some explaining because I had a mechanical engineering degree. So this is when I was applying. I started this when I was applying for teaching, and then I kind of thrown into it and updated it as necessary and switched jobs. So they make us write a personal statement thing in our last co-op. So I did the explaining of like I have engineering experience in terms of my education, and I want to teach physics. So I broke everything down into different sections and put the most important things for getting a job in education and teaching at the beginning. So it's not all chronological. Obviously now my high school teaching experiences are first, my certification, and then everything after this was what I added to explain why I thought I was qualified to be a teacher. I wasn't at the time licensed, and I was switching fields. So I have all my robotic stuff broken down into a team that was advisor, different roles throughout my time on the team. So this is something you guys can do with your job. So if you are a lead mechanical student or something like that, you can give yourself that title. Like pass and else before you do that, but you can give yourself a title under robotics. So it's not just you did robotics and that's it. And then you can kind of break down the things you've done, things you've accomplished, different designs, different projects, different problems. If you've led people, if you've mentored in terms of volunteer work, you can break all that down and really explain it. And obviously, it would depend on what kind of job you're going for, whether you do that or not. So I have that, and then at the end, I have my education and my job experience. If I were to actually go for a job now, I'd probably delete a lot of this and stuff because it really isn't relevant to what I'd be going for now. I'd shorten the Northeastern stuff. I'd probably get rid of all my industry experience, my co-ops, because I have 9 years of teaching under my belt now, so it doesn't really matter. But everything's really the same as what you saw before, just putting a different spin on things I've done. So if you look at how I describe robotics and how Kyle might describe robotics, it's a different spin on a lot of the same work.
He pointed out all his teaching experience in robotics. I pointed out just like I have all these skills because of robotics.
And for me, I just wrote that I was affiliated with robotics because as a chemist, it wasn't that important. But having that connection to the FIRST Robotics program was pretty important. I was actually offered a couple interviews from people who worked at companies that had children that participated in FIRST, or they had done it themselves in high school with startups in Cambridge. There are a lot of younger people that just wanted to talk to me because I had done FIRST. That was kind of cool just to have that experience. So it's definitely not something to discount that you've done FIRST Robotics because it's a really powerful name right now and definitely will get you connections and resources and help you with the college application and maybe job application process.
Like when we're hiring internships at my company, if we see that you did FIRST Robotics and you were involved, your name goes into the talk to pile because you have hands-on experience.
Like that's a good reason not to. Like when you're first making a resume, don't discount anything. Like you can put a spin on pretty much everything. Like don't over exaggerate or lie, but like you can make FIRST Robotics a teaching experience or industrial experience, or just like a general experience, or like a leadership experience, or a speaking experience. Like you can make anything pretty much whatever you would want to apply.
So the last resume we have is Christine's, and the reason we're showing is that it has all the same stuff, but I thought it'd be an interesting example to show that it looks very different because ours are pretty boring, the ones we've shown so far. But it has all the same stuff. It's organized. Do something like this, which you guys shouldn't do for a while because you probably don't have enough on there to make it interesting like this. Be careful and make sure that it's still readable and that it's not going to either confuse people or just make them want to toss it away. I like this because I think if I were looking at resumes, this would catch my attention. I'd have to look at it for a couple of seconds to figure out what's going on, which means I'm spending a few extra seconds looking at the resume. So it's not like it's way out there. It's got all the same stuff, really kind of in the same order, just in two columns.
It's still clean and organized. They don't do some like Hello Kitty. Don't choose the anime you like. Put it on there.
Please make us that promise right now. We would never do that. unless you're a graphic designer, it should be like, even if you're a graphic designer, it should still be clean, but unless you're a graphic designer, it really should just be one color, one font, very straightforward, to the point. I mean, if you're going for something more in the art field, you might want to kind of switch that up and really show your personality in it, but otherwise, keep it simple.
And one other thing to keep in mind, especially if you're applying for internships, most places will require your resume, references, and a cover letter. So make sure you have probably 5 people that you can call for. Need their permission. So a lot of places ask for 5, yeah. So you want their name,
2.
their email, and their phone number. Every place I apply to ask for 5.
You guys are probably good with 2 for now, but of course,
Okay.
like, keep good relationships with people so you can call them for recommendations.
Okay.
Was more
But
than enough.
whoever it is, however many, name, email, phone number, keep that, and make sure you have their permission at all times.
Just go for any.
Gabby, question?
What's a cover letter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, so cover letters. That is explaining why you want a job, what qualifies you for the job, and why they should hire you over another person. So you want to look at the job description, be very careful about what that job description entails, and cover the fact that you know what the job is and that you are applying for this job on purpose. Because they will look at that, and if you have an actual nicely written cover letter and someone has one that's just like some generic thing that they send to everyone, then they're going to take yours over theirs because they see that you're interested in that job in particular.
Yeah, you'll have one for every company. So it's literally what it is the cover of your resume.
Yeah,
They didn't say letter. It's like, dear, if you know who's interviewing you, if you know who's going to look at your resume, dear whoever, or like,
Yeah.
to
Or
your
like,
main concern, something like that. And it's literally written as a letter. So
there'll be like the company, the address and stuff at the beginning, then here, blah, blah. And also, you have to usually sign it. So like, if you want to like put your signature on your computer, this thing has every single cover letter I had to submit, I have to sign.
all right, you're working in some weird places. Do you have a question?
I was wondering if those jobs.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always job specific. You want to make sure that you can like really show that you've researched the position and the company, not that you're just generally interested in engineering. You're really interested in, let's say, like surgical robotics, for example, not just generally engineering, because you want them to know that you're interested in their field and their work and that you're passionate about that specifically.
And along with
Josh,
that though,
sorry, I want to interrupt you guys. Remember what I said in the last thing about like, people always ask like, why do you want this job? Why do you want to work at this company? Stuff like that. Like, know why you're applying to each job.
The cover letter
Besides
is
just
really,
money.
the cover letter is your reason for that question. Why do you want this job?
and along with that, again, not going to really apply to you right now, but as you get more and more experience, you can have multiple resumes as well. So if you have 2 very different jobs that have very different requirements, then you can have resume for engineering or a resume for coding. So Jenna has like resume for chemistry and resume for public speaking.
Well, I have to write a resume
She-
for public
she's-
speaking because I got a job offer today and they asked for my resume. And I told them I would have to get back to them because I don't have a resume that doesn't have just a list of the things that I've done in chemistry on it. So I need to actually do that later today. So if anyone else wants to sit down and write resumes together, let's get started.
Got you.
So should we do our, like maybe for 5 to 10 minutes, everyone try to come up with somewhere between 5 and 10 things that you can brag about on your resume. And try to use action words like, I did this, I created or developed or designed this. And
You guys can start with your school accomplishments.
Oh, you can embarrass me if you want on
Your
here.
classes.
Yep.
Any honors you got, guys, any honors you received in high school, awards, things like that, would be a good place to start. AP classes, that you should include that on yours as high school students.
Even like a project that you've done that you're really proud of, that you worked really hard on.
So start with that, and then you can go into maybe break it down to robotics works as a job description, not as a job, but as a bigger, I think robotics.
yes.
Yeah, go.
And remember, anything you put in your resume, it's fair game for them to ask you about an interview. So if you're going to put on your resume, you need to be comfortable talking about that.
2006 Time Person of the Year.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Very relevant.
Thank you.
Attach your resume.
So when I applied for college, I was like old, like or young. Now I'm old.
You are 34 years old.
It's very late, you guys. It's much past my bedtime as a 9-year-old woman. No, but in all seriousness, so when I applied for college like 6 years ago, it was very different than it is now. So my guidance counselor forced us to put resumes on it. So we had to have like these great things.